There's a Bible on a shelf in your house right now. Maybe it's in the living room. Maybe it came out of a box from your mother's place, and you haven't decided what to do with it yet. Big black cover, broken spine, family names written inside in 2 or 3 different hands. You've walked past it 100 times. Most family Bibles sell for $5 at an estate sale. I have priced hundreds of them, and that is the honest number for most of what I've seen. But there are specific things about how a Bible was made, what's recorded inside it, or when it left a printing press that can push that same object well past $1,000 at auction. And one item at the end of this list, if you actually have it, is worth more than everything else in your living room combined. I'll tell you right now, most of you won't have that one. But some of you will, and I want you to know how to check before it ends up priced wrong. I'm Glenn, 32 years of estate sales, and I've sat with more Bibles than most preachers. Let's get into it. Start with the big one, the heavy Bible, usually black or dark brown, brass clasps on the cover, or the marks where they used to be. Red-edged pages sometimes, a picture of the Last Supper embossed on the front. You know the one. It was never meant for reading. It was meant for the shelf, and that was its job. These were sold door to door from the 1860s through the early 1900s, often on installment plans. Salesmen worked through farming communities and working-class neighborhoods across the country. Families bought them because owning one meant something. Most of what got produced was similar. Same printers, same bindings, different names written on the family page inside. Open the front cover. There will be a family record section. Births, marriages, deaths, sometimes all 3 going back generations. Then turn to the title page and look for the publisher and the date. That date is the print date, not the date the Bible was written. That confusion causes more mispricing than almost anything else I've seen in this category. For a standard Victorian parlor Bible from a major publisher, Holman, John Winston, World Publishing, in average condition, you're looking at $10 to $40 at auction. If the family record section is completely filled out in original ink, legible, covering multiple generations, that same Bible starts drawing genealogy collectors and can bring $60 to $150. Binding condition matters enormously. Broken spine, loose pages, bottom of the range. Tight binding, intact clasps, top. 9 out of 10 of these are worth the low number. But the family record is the variable nobody checks. Now stay right there with that Bible open, because this next part is really about what's written inside it. The family page is the thing. Look at what's recorded. 3 or more generations of births, marriages, and deaths written in original ink, in multiple handwriting styles, meaning different people added entries over decades. That record has value on its own. Genealogists, historical societies, and family researchers buy these. What pushes it higher? Entries covering the pre-Civil War period, a specific county listed, names that connect to documented historical families. A Bible with a complete antebellum Southern family record has sold for $200 to $400 at auction. A Bible with sparse entries from the 1940s is closer to $15. We ran a sale in Centerville, sometime around 2004. A family brought out a Bible in a plastic bag, cover completely gone, just loose pages and a detached family record sheet. Looked like nothing. A woman who drove in from Cincinnati, a collector who focused on genealogical records from that specific county, bought it for $80 before noon on day 1. The family thought she was being kind. She wasn't. If the family record is blank or has just 1 or 2 entries, that changes everything. The writing is the value, not the Bible itself. That one is about the record. This next one is about where the family came from. If your family has Pennsylvania German roots, Lancaster County, or the German-speaking communities that spread through Ohio, Indiana, and Virginia, look inside every Bible in that house. What you're looking for is a hand-decorated document. Colorful birds, flowers, hearts, and stylized script lettering recording a birth or baptism. That style of folk art is called Fraktur, and it was made by schoolmasters and church scribes from the mid-1700s through the mid-1800s. These were personal records, and families kept them inside the Bible, because the Bible was the household's official record book. There are 2 kinds, and they are not worth the same. Hand-drawn and hand-colored Fraktur, and printed Fraktur with hand-filled blanks. Turn it over and look at the back. A hand-drawn piece will show original ink variation. Thicker strokes, thinner strokes, no mechanical regularity. Printed Fraktur has consistent line weight and often a faint letterpress impression if you look closely. Hand-drawn, dated before 1840, good color, no major tears. $200 to $1,200 at auction, sometimes more if the maker can be identified. Printed fracture with a handwritten name and date, $50 to $150. Most of what I've seen in this category is the printed version. Beautiful objects, worth checking, takes 30 seconds. All right, this next one I still find moving to hold. A small New Testament, pocket-sized, soft cover, sometimes with a cloth cover added later. Often stamped inside with the words U.S. Christian Commission or American Bible Society. The Christian Commission distributed hundreds of thousands of these to Union soldiers during the Civil War. Confederate soldiers received similar items from Southern church organizations. Many of those books came home with the men who carried them, and have been in American households ever since, passed down without much explanation. These almost never show up in a Bible box. They turn up in the back of a dresser drawer, inside a hat box, wrapped in a cloth alongside old discharge papers. Open the cover. Look for a handwritten inscription. The soldier's name, his company, his regiment. That inscription is the entire value proposition. A pocket testament with no inscription, just the Christian Commission stamp, brings $40 to $80 at auction. The same book with a confirmed unit inscription from an identified regiment, $150 to $300, sometimes higher depending on the regiment's documented history. Don't try to verify the unit yourself if you're not familiar with Civil War records. Describe exactly what you see and take it to an auction house that handles militaria. We ran a sale outside Xenia in the early 2000s. Box of papers from an attic. Inside, wrapped in a handkerchief, was a pocket testament, with a man's name and his company and regiment written in pencil on the inside cover. A militaria dealer bought it within the first 20 minutes. I looked up that regiment afterward. They were at Chickamauga. Without the inscription, it's a meaningful relic. With it, it's a piece of one specific person's story, and that is what collectors pay for. Now, from a different kind of family. If your family immigrated from German-speaking Europe, Germany, Switzerland, the German Mennonite communities, there may be a German-language Bible somewhere in the house. Full Bible, not just a testament. The spine might say Die Bibel or Heilig Schrift. The print inside is in an old German typeface, also called Fraktur, different from the decorative documents we talked about earlier, but the same letterform tradition. Turn to the title page. Look for the place of publication and the date. A German-language Bible printed in Germany before 1800, with a documented family history of coming over with an immigrant. That's more interesting to collectors than an American printed edition. But American printed German Bibles from 1820 to 1880 are what most households actually have. An 1840s American printed German Bible in solid condition, $75 to $200 at auction. A German printed edition from the 1700s in comparable condition, $200 to $500, depending on the printer. The oldest ones are worth having looked at by someone who specializes in early printed books. Most of these are the American printed editions from the late 1800s. Not nothing, but not a windfall either. I've seen a genuine pre-1800 German printed Bible come out of an American estate sale, maybe a handful of times in 32 years. Those first 5 are the ones you've probably walked past before, even if you didn't know what you were looking at. What comes next is where it gets less familiar, and where the money gets harder to predict. The A.J. Holman Company of Philadelphia was one of the largest Bible publishers in American history. If you have a large illustrated family Bible from the late 1800s, there's a reasonable chance. It carries the Holman imprint. Check the title page or the spine for that name. Then look at the illustrated pages. Many Holman Bibles included color lithograph plates. That means printed color illustrations, along with maps and concordances. The value question is whether those pages are still there. Because what happened constantly is that families pulled the plates out to frame them. They're beautiful. I understand why. But a complete Holman Bible from the 1880s or 1890s, all color plates present, and undamaged tight binding, $60 to $150 at auction. The same Bible with plates removed, $10 to $25. You've cut the value in half to preserve something that was worth more inside the book. If you find one of these and the plates are intact, leave them there. This one I have to be direct about because I watched it happen at sales. More times than I'd like to count. Families would pull those plates the week before, wanting to keep something beautiful. That is absolutely their right, but know what you're doing before you do it. Now, this one surprised me. The first time I saw it price out, Isaiah Thomas was the most important printer in early America. In 1791, he produced the first Bible printed in English in the United States, out of Worcester, Massachusetts. It was also the first illustrated Bible printed in America. Copies do surface in estate sales, though rarely. If you have a Bible that appears to be very old, pre-1820, turn to the title page and look at the imprint line. At the bottom, you're looking for the printer's name, the city, and the date. Isaiah Thomas, Worcester, 1791. That's the one. A verified copy in solid condition. Complete, tight binding, minimal foxing, which is the brown spotting that comes from age and moisture, has sold at auction for $1,500 to $4,000. Condition decides almost everything in that range. The one time I came across what looked like a pre-1800 American Bible at a sale, I set it aside, put a conservative number on it, and called an antiquarian book dealer, someone who specializes in old and rare books, to come look at it. That is the correct move. These are outside the range of a general estate sale pricer, and do not try to flatten warped pages or clean them. Leave it exactly as it is. Most Bibles that look old are not this old. Paper yellows and spines crack. In 30 years, age in appearance is not age in fact. The title page is the only confirmation that matters. If this is the kind of thing you want to know, what's in your house that nobody ever thought to tell you about. Subscribing takes 1 second. New one every week. Now, the Church Presentation Bible. A Bible given by a church or Sunday school with a bookplate or handwritten inscription recording the gift, the recipient's name, and the date. These are everywhere. Confirmation Bibles, perfect attendance prizes, mission send-offs. For the vast majority, the value is sentimental. A standard church presentation King James Bible from the early 1900s brings $10 to $30 at auction, if it sells at all. But look at the recipient's name. If that person went on to be documented in any historical record, local, regional, national, the inscription is worth a 10-minute search before you price the Bible. I want to be honest with you. This is the category where I see the most wishful thinking. A name in a Bible is not the same as a famous name in a Bible, but the search takes almost no time, and occasionally it matters. All right, this next one is genuinely strange, and I debated including it. But I've seen it come out of a Bible box twice, and you should know what you're looking at. Sometimes tucked inside a family Bible, used as a bookmark or pasted to an interior page, and there is a single sheet covered in dense handwritten Latin text decorated with colored ink. Red, blue, sometimes gold. The writing is in a script that is clearly very old. That is not a Bible page. That is a leaf from a medieval manuscript, a hand-copied Bible or prayer book made in Europe before the printing press existed. In the late 1800s and early 1900s, European dealers broke apart old manuscripts and sold individual pages as decorative objects and souvenirs. They ended up in American homes legitimately, packed in trunks, given as gifts, handed down without explanation. Here is how to check. Look at the writing surface. Vellum, that's animal skin parchment, feels slightly waxy and very durable. It does not feel like paper, even after several hundred years. If the text appears hand-lettered in Latin, with decorated initial letters and no mechanical uniformity to the letter forms, you may be holding something genuinely old, a single illuminated leaf. One with colored decoration from a medieval Bible or Book of Hours has sold at auction from $500 to over $15,000, depending on the quality of the illustration and the period. Plain text pages from the same manuscripts bring far less. Do not mount it. Do not frame it with adhesive. Find a rare books and manuscript specialist. I'll tell you what happened at one sale. A family Bible box, papers inside, used as a divider between two stacks, was a piece of vellum with Latin text and a small decorated border in red and blue. The family had no idea what it was. I priced it conservatively, flagged it as unusual, and a book dealer identified it before the end of day one. I don't know what he sold it for, but I know it was not a Bible page, and I know it did not belong in the Monday dumpster. That's the kind of thing the guide is built for. When you find something and you don't know what you're looking at, it's a room-by-room reference of what things in American homes actually sell for, with the marks and checks laid out so you can do this yourself. It's at glenharwood.com, and it's linked in the description. Now, the one I promised you at the start. The 1611 King James Bible, the first authorized edition, printed in London by Robert Barker, the King's printer. It is one of the most historically significant books in the English language, and it is the item I have heard more families mention, and more families be wrong about, than almost anything else I encountered in 32 years. Here is the check. Turn to the title page. A genuine 1611 will read, "The Holy Bible, containing the Old Testament and the New." Containing, spelled that way with an E. The title page will have an elaborate engraved border with columns and figures. The printer's imprint at the bottom will read, "Imprinted at London by Robert Barker, Printer to the King's Most Excellent Majesty, Anno Domini, 1611. Now here is the reason almost every family Bible fails that check. Families have Bibles that say King James Version and are genuinely old. They are not 1611. They are later editions. The 1769 revision, 1800s American printings, early 20th century editions. All legitimate King James Bibles, none of them the 1611 first edition. King James Version means the translation. It does not mean the year. That distinction is everything. If the title page shows that Robert Barker imprint and that date, do not price it at an estate sale. Do not put it on eBay. Contact Christie's, Sotheby's, or Heritage Auctions. A verified 1611 has sold for 6 figures at major auction. Verified is doing a lot of work in that sentence. These objects are documented and specialists can confirm them. In 32 years, I never personally encountered a verified 1611 at a sale I ran. I want to say that plainly. What I did encounter more than once was a family certain they had one, and quietly heartbroken to learn they didn't. Most of you don't have this. I am nearly certain of that, and I say it with respect. But some of you might, and the check takes less than a minute. Here is what every item in this list has in common. The value is never in the cover. It's in the record the Bible carries, the hands that made it, and the specific moment in history when it left a printing press. The cover is not the story. What's on the title page, and what someone wrote by hand inside, that is the story. Quick pass through everything. The Victorian Parlor Bible. Open the family record section before you decide what it's worth. The Genealogy Bible. Multiple generations of handwritten entries draw researchers. Keep the record with the book. The Fracture Bible. Hand-drawn and hand-colored is the one that matters. Printed fracture is a different thing. The Confederate Pocket Testament. The unit inscription is everything. The Luther Bible. Date and country of printing decide. The pre-1800 German printed editions are worth a longer look. The Holman Bible. Keep the illustrated plates inside the book. The Isaiah Thomas Bible. If the title page says Worcester, 1791, call an antiquarian dealer before you do anything else. The Church Presentation Bible. Look up the recipient's name before you price it. The Illuminated Manuscript Leaf. Vellum feels different from paper. If you find one, find a specialist. And the 1611 King James. Check the title page imprint. Most aren't, but some are. You don't have to do all of this tonight. Pick the one Bible in your house that you know is old and start there. Everything in this list, the marks, the checks, the value ranges, is in the guide, laid out room by room so you can work through it at your own pace. It's at glennharwood.com, and it's linked in the description. And if you check 20 things and don't find one worth more than the book, I give your money back. The most valuable Bible in your family may come down to a single line on the title page that nobody ever thought to read. Tell me about the oldest one in your house, and who kept it. Was it your grandmother's? Did it come over with somebody? I'd like to know where it's been. Go find it tonight. Look at the title page. Look at what's written inside in those old hands. Don't put it in a donation box until you know what you have. And while you're in that part of the house, those shelves, those boxes, there's something else sitting right alongside it that people walk past every single time, and that's where we're going next. I'm Glenn. Take care of those books.